Hello and welcome all of you to the Prelims PYQ discussion of New AAS. Here we are discussing all the prelims questions from 2014 to 2023, and the theme for today is literature and authors. We have three questions for discussion today. One is from 2023, the second is from 2020, and the third is from 2016. Let's go to the first question, and the first question is, with reference to the ancient Indian history, consider the following pairs. So you have four pairs here. The first part is literary work and the second part is authors. The first option, Devi Chandragupta, marked against Bilhana, Hammira Mahakavya against Naya Chandra Suri, Milinda Panha against Nagarjuna, Nidhi Vakyamrita by Somadeva Suri. And we have the new option combination, only 1, only 2, only 3 and all 4. Now this is a very difficult option combination. Even if you know 2 for sure, again you're left with a 50-50 chance where you can be half wrong and half right. Now let's look at the option combinations, not the option combinations, but the match the following combinations. Look at the first option, Devi Chandragupta and Bilhana. This is one option that is straight out of NCERTs. Devi Chandragupta is a very famous text that is written by Vishagadatta. So these are names that should be very familiar, and with that knowledge, this option is a factual elimination. If you don't know that, this question is unattemptable. If you know that, one of the options can be cut down. So Devi Chandragupta is that famous text by Vishagadatta. So this option is wrong. So all 4 can be eliminated. Now second option is not that familiar. It's not that famous. Last option is also not that popular. Look at the third option, Milinda Panha, a very famous text. But here, Milinda Panha is in fact written by Nagasena. But the option marked against is Nagarjuna, very close name. So there's a possibility that people will fall for that, but if you know the name very clearly, you can take this to be wrong, and this option can also be eliminated. But again, you are left with 2 other options from which you will have to choose. So there, if you want to take the risk, you can, otherwise it's better to leave the question. If you look at the answer key, as I said, Vishagadatta is a very famous author, a Sanskrit poet, someone like Kalidasa, as a playwright during the Gupta period. Same period as Kalidasa. There are 9 gems of Chandragupta to Vikramaditya. He is the author of Mudra Rakshasa and Devi Chandragupta. The third option, Milinda Panha, as I told you, is written by Nagasena and not Nagarjuna. It's a Buddhist text. It's a very famous conversation between King Milinda and monk Nagasena. That's compiled as Milinda Panha. The 2 other texts, the pair 2 and pair 4, are correct options. So the answer is answer option B, only 2 options. The second option, Naya Chandra Suri, is a Swedambara Jain Mo, and he is the author of Hammira Mahakavya, but the time period is pretty later, medieval period, 15th century. The last option, Somadeva Suri, he wrote the book Nidhi Vakyamritam. It's known as Nectar of the Science of Polity. That again is a 10th century text. So these 2 are factual pairs, something you can by heart from this. These 2 are from straight out of NCERT, something that every aspirant should be aware of. Going to the second question, with reference to the history of ancient India, you have 3 names, Bavabudi, Hastimalla, Kshemeshwara. They were famous for what? So you just have to identify their genre, what they are. They can be Jain monks, playwrights, temple architects and philosophers. Just look at the third option, temple architects. How many temple architects you know from ancient India? Or how many temple architects have we studied in our textbooks? Very few, right? So this option is likely to be not right, because this is not a famous category that we discuss in our textbooks. Then it comes to Jain monks. Here again, we know the Tirthankaras, we know the famous monks, but if it is any monk, then it will be difficult to guess. The only catch, the only logical catch in this question is the name of Bhavabudhi. If you know Bhavabudhi, you'll get this answer. Otherwise, this again is a factual question. Now coming to Bhavabudhi, this person is a very famous playwright, someone who is equivalent to the level of Kalidasa. If you look at the answer key, Bhavabudhi is a court poet of King Yashovarman of Kanuj in 8th century CE. He is known as Udumbara Brahmin. His guru is Dayanidhi Paramahansa. He is considered equal to Kalidasa, as I said, and he wrote in Sanskrit just like Kalidasa, and he has written texts like Mahavira Charita, Uttama Charita and Maladi Madhava. So if you know this name, you can connect it to as a playwright and the rest of the options, even if you doesn't know, this will be the answer. Otherwise, it's a very difficult choice, except for choices like temple architects, something that you can do some guesswork and eliminate. Otherwise, it's a very tight question. So these are questions where you have to be very clear with the names of persons and factual knowledge. Coming to the third question, before going to the third question, we'll look at the other two names as well, Hastimalla and Kshameshwara. Hastimalla is a Kannada poet. He's also a playwright. Everybody is a playwright. And Kshameshwara is again a playwright who wrote in Sanskrit. The book he wrote is Dashavatara Charita. The third and final question for the day, with reference to the cultural history of India, the memorizing of chronicles, dynastic history and epic tales was the profession of which of the following? So it's about an occupational class. You have 4 options and their job is memorizing chronicles, dynastic histories and epic tales. Now this is one question where logic has to be used and it will work. Look at the first option, Shramana. Now Shramana is a tradition. It's a tradition in which Buddhism, Jainism and sects like Ajivikas are part of. It's a tradition that originated in counter to the Vedic or ritualistic tradition. So Shramana tradition and connecting it with this definition is very unlikely. Come to the second option, Parivrajaka. Parivrajaka is a term that means wanderer. Buddha was a Parivrajaka. Mahavira was a Parivrajaka. So if they are wanderers, they are not memorizers or they are not dynastic historians as well. So this again is an option. These are 2 options that has very less weightage in this context. Third is Agraharika. Agrahara is again a famous land donation. Donation of land made to Brahmins where they settle down. Those areas are called Agraharas. And Agraharika can be similar to that term and note this definition. And finally, the conclusion will be Magadha, which Magadha is the name of a Mahajanabata, but this definition suits for Magadha. Like we don't have anything logical to connect to that, but these 3 options are very unlikely and this will be the option that is right. If you look at the answer key, factually also this option is right. But in such options, if you have a 50-50 chance or if you want to take a risk, you can go for Magadha. But I'm repeating again, I'm reiterating again, you can just logically eliminate these options. But you cannot conclusively fix on Magadha because as I said, Magadha is the name of a Mahajanabata. You don't have anything logical to connect this with this. But since these 3 options are not related to this concept, you can pick Magadha as an option. If you don't want to take risk, if you have short questions from other answers, then it's better to leave this question as well. As I said, Shramana is a seeker, part of the Shramana tradition. Prajivrajaka, the English equivalent is a wanderer. Buddha and Mahavira were Prajivrajaka's. Agraharika looked after the lands given in charity or the Agrahara lands. So all the 3 definitions that we derive from the term is very accurate. Magadhas, on the other hand, as descendants of priest families, and their jobs were memorizing chronicles, dynastic histories, and epic tales. So, giving a conclusion of this discussion, I would like to say that if you know factually the history questions, go for it. If you don't know anything and if you still want to attempt the question, use the logic. Again, it will come to a 50-50 terms for most of the answers. There, it's your discretion whether to take a risk or not. I won't advise the logical technique for history questions because you can be equally wrong as well. Thank you for listening.